Okay, guys, today's lesson is on the glacial landscape of Wisconsin and the history of mining in Wisconsin. So first up, this is what Wisconsin looked like during the last ice age. So you see a huge chunk, about 2/3 of the state, was covered with glaciers, and that is going to dramatically affect what we look like as a state. So let's get into those individuals. All right, so this area in the southwestern part of Wisconsin is called the driftless area. It was not covered by glaciers. And if you've ever driven down to like La Crosse or anything, there's a lot of steep hills and V-shaped gullies and valleys. So because the glaciers didn't smooth them out. Other things are moraines. These are ridges made up of stuff, rocks, debris, sand, gravel that was deposited along the edge of the glacier. So this is like the glacier pushed this stuff, okay? So here's a good example of a picture. Drum lines are long hills. I love that it shows you what it looks like, and then you have an actual picture of a drum line. These are all over the state as well. Eskers are really cool. When you see an esker, you know you're seeing one. They're long, they're very narrow, they can be really kind of squiggly, almost like a snake. And it's a meltwater stream depositing all this stuff inside the glacier. Outwash plain it melts and it spreads out in front of the glacier's edge, so generally going to be real flat and smooth. Okay. Kettles are pretty cool. A big chunk of ice gets stuck in the ground as the glacier is going. It just shoves this big chunk of ice into the ground, creates a hole. The glacier keeps going, and then eventually the giant chunk of ice melts, and there's this little pot hole. They're called kettles. Okay, the Kettle Moraine Forest is named after that. Erratics are pretty cool. It's just these giant boulders that are carried a huge distance and deposited just haphazardly. So, I mean, you can see this one on the right, big rock stuck on top of another rock. That just doesn't happen. You know, it was put there. Meltwater canals. This is what gives the Wisconsin Dells its distinctive features. Rapidly melting glaciers draining from the glacial lake, and you see Glacial Lake, Wisconsin shows you where it was. It was ginormous. And it cuts these deep gorges called dells, and that's where you get the awesome rock formations in the Wisconsin Dells area. Mining districts and discoveries. So on to mining. So lead and copper were big. The first real industry in Wisconsin is going to be lead. Our state flag, we have a miner on it, for crying out loud. So it gives you an idea. And actually, why we're called the Badger State is because these guys were digging holes in the hillsides, and they said the miners looked like badgers. So it starts in the Southwest, led by the French. Native Americans had been smelting and digging for lead for way before Europeans showed up. The lead rush, for a little while, Wisconsin was the leading producer of lead. All right. They digged up this lead sulfide, and they're going to make it into shotgun ammunition, which I'll go over in a second. But then it starts to decline. The easy stuff goes, and a lot of these miners go to the UP for copper or to California for gold. This is a smelting tower. So the center image is the best. Molten lead goes through this little pan with holes in it. The lead falls to the ground, gets a perfect circle, and lands into water, and it cools it into your shotgun shell ammo. Okay, picture of miners. This would not be for me. I would not do this. This would not, but going down into your mine shaft, no, sorry. Zinc, largest, for a little while, the largest zinc smelter was in Mineral Point, Wisconsin. Some of the downsides is contaminated wells and streams because of mining. There are towns that have popped up and they owe their existence to the mining in Wisconsin. Now, iron mining, the Gogebic Range up by Superior, by Lake Superior, the Ashland ore docks. I mean, hello. The Gogebic mine closed in the 1960s. There's a mine in Jackson County that went till 83. This is the Ashland ore dock, which is, I believe, now officially been torn down. So, and they would use this. The trains would come out, they would dump them into these containers, and these things would go down, and the lead would slide into the ships. And that's how they loaded ships. This shows the Iron Range, proposed mining in Wisconsin.